tried to be the very best ball player that I could for my family, for my friends, and for everybody that paid to get in this park. Some days we don't always accomplish that, but we certainly try. It was easier to do because you were here, because you were in back of us, in back of me. I feel like that you are here because maybe we tried that hard to be that good. We had great respect for baseball. We had great respect for Cincinnati. And I was just one small particle of a great number of teams. I hope that on this board up here at times we have showed some of the players that I have had the opportunity to play with over the past 16 years. I am a very lucky person. I am a very honored person and very grateful person. You have made this day complete. You have made it better than I could have ever written a script for. I thank you so much. My family thanks you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to try like hell to play good for you tonight. Thank you.
There he is. Let's hear it for Johnny Bench. As Johnny Bench said before the festivities began, tonight really was going to be like a doubleheader. First, the ceremonies, the hoopla, the This Is Your Life format, and the appreciation, the love to be shown between this crowd, the city, the tri-state area, and in fact the baseball world, to number 5, Johnny Bench. And now we're really between games, because Bench tonight, probably for the last time, will put on those tools of ignorance that we all talk about almost jokingly, but tools that he really has made very, very serious as the greatest catcher the game has ever known. Bench in a few minutes will catch for the last time in this great career. Boy, what a touching moment it has been here tonight at Riverfront Stadium. And you can see the 1983 Reds really taking part, enjoying it, along with Johnny Bench. So we're here at Riverfront, a capacity, in fact, standing room only crowd, clear blue sky overnight. You'd almost think it was the middle of July. The weather has turned out Johnny Bench-like, and we're getting ready now for the ceremonial first pitch in a few minutes. Mr. Bench, Ted Bench, Johnny's dad, who himself was a catcher, never in the pro ranks, but a catcher. He was the one who really has always served as the inspiration for Johnny Bench and the great success he has had in the world of professional sports, and in fact, just the world. So it's fun to be here, and it's one of those nights you'll say now, hey, you wouldn't want to miss it. And one of those nights that even tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 20 years from now, we'll all say, hey, we were there on September 17th, 1983 at Riverfront Stadium when Bench saw great presentations, received funds for a scholarship fund, visited with his relatives, his old friends, and enjoyed the love between himself and the great fans. And wherever you are tonight, I know that you're just happy to be part of it. A ball game still coming up, and nice to welcome a number of our network stations, Dayton in particular. Nice to have you folks join us as Johnny Bench night really begins to unfold further here with the actual game tonight between the Reds and the Houston Astros. It's kind of funny because it's one of those situations where the game is really going to take second chair to the festivities, and the fact that Bench is catching. Probably tomorrow when the scribes write about tonight, they'll write first about how Johnny Bench performs in the ball game, secondly about everything that has occurred before the ball game, and probably the last bit of information that we'll enjoy Sunday brunch with will be, well, the Reds won or the Astros won. But tonight nobody really seems to care. It's just Johnny Bench night here in Cincinnati. I guess part of the irony of it was that Johnny Bench finally got a silver bat. I thought that was one of the more touching moments, and as if you can read reaction from an individual, and it's sometimes tough with John because he's so exuberant about so much that occurs, as he was throughout the festivities here in the past hour. He seemed to really be especially touched getting that silver bat, which is awarded annually in both leagues to the player who wins the batting championship. John, as we all know, has never won a batting championship. He's never come close to winning a batting championship, and he's always said, well, batting average wasn't that important to me. I hit home runs, I drive in runs, and the Cincinnati Reds win. And you think back, you look over his illustrious career, Bench had only one 300 season. That was 1981, which probably was the worst season of his career in many ways. He broke his ankle in May. There was a strike, and a lot of baseball games were missed. And that'll go down as his only 300 season. But for Johnny Bench, preparing now to catch for the last time in his career, well, I think that silver bat meant something special, and I wouldn't be surprised one day that on the mantle in the rec room at John's house here in Cincinnati, that silver bat will take a very special place, because he really has been a batting champion in more ways than one. The scout who signed Johnny Bench was here earlier before we got on the air. Tony Robello, he was here, and also the very first manager that John had at Tampa in the Florida State League, Jack Cassini, was on hand. There was a recorded message from Boston, and former Red skipper Sparky Anderson, now with the Tigers. He had some very, very kind words. Also, Al Michaels was here, the Reds broadcaster in the early 70s. John getting the cap to Dad Ted Bench, and we're going to have the ceremonial first pitch. Also, Bobby Goldsboro from the entertainment world, a longtime friend of John, a fine recording artist, was on hand here at Riverfront tonight. That's Ted Bench, who's going to throw out the first pitch here on Johnny Bench night. Boy, if anybody is touched tonight, and we all are to varying degrees, I guarantee you this is really a thrill for Ted Bench to throw now in a big league field to John. Well, John said in a press conference before all this began, about 4:30 this afternoon, that to him, driving into the ballpark tonight, it was like an all-star game, a playoff situation, a World Series atmosphere. And it certainly is that. Mid-afternoon here in downtown Cincinnati, people were excited. Everybody was ready for Johnny Bench night. And it really is, though it's a summer-like night, the feel of autumn, that October feel here at Riverfront tonight. And of course, so many Octobers graced by number 5 and the Cincinnati Reds over the years. So Johnny Bench ready to catch tonight. He will catch a youngster just coming onto the scene, Jeff Russell. Katie Bench in the foreground, John's mother. Also John's brother William Bench and his wife Grace on hand. Dean Ingram and his wife Carolyn from Oklahoma, probably John's best friend from back home. Greg and Marilyn Hahn here. Marilyn is the former Marilyn Bench, John's sister. They've all paraded here at Riverfront tonight on Johnny Bench night. Of course, the baseball bunch kids we saw, which gives you the, I guess, special feel of Johnny Bench. One of the things he was mentioning at the press conference was the fact that tonight, with this quote-unquote doubleheader, he would not get a chance to warm up in the bullpen with Jeff Russell. He would not, in fact, get a chance to warm up at all. And he said the biggest part of this night for him, baseball-wise, was going to be trying to get through the top of the first inning. As John said, I just hope Jeff Russell can get the Astros 1, 2, 3, because I know one thing, I'm going to be struggling back of the plate. You know, he caught recently here against the Chicago Cubs. And in that ball game on a Wednesday night, well, the old left hand and the old glove weren't quite what they used to be, and John really had a bruised hand, and that still hurts him a bit. But this is the last hurrah. This is the night that the adrenaline will flow just as if it was the first night at Crosley Field back in '67, or one of those first World Series games. So Johnny Bench gets the cheers again here at Riverfront Stadium. As we mentioned, Bench will be catching young Jeff Russell. Mike Madden, a left-hander who has beaten the Reds once this year at the Astrodome in Houston, will make the start for the Houston Astros. And as it turns out, the Astros really are out of the pennant race now, so this is a game that for both will just be remembered as the game played on Johnny Bench night. Now this capacity crowd ready here in Cincinnati for our national anthem. We should say one thing simply. Hey, this is fun, and there's a lot more fun to come, so stay with us. We'll be back with the lineups and ready to play ball at Riverfront in just a moment.
Thunderbird. No sharp corners, no hard angles, no ornament more distinctive than the shape itself. A shape which effectively puts the wind to work. So the way Thunderbird looks helps the way it drives, the way it sits on its tires, the way it takes a turn. The result is a feel of driving that is pure Thunderbird.
Have you driven a Ford lately? See your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers.
For Sheriff Duval, whose car lacked the pickup to make the pickup, there's Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts. For absent-minded Professor Doyle, who never remembered to check her oil, Gulf's full-service dealers check it for her. For the Millers, whose car ran on and on, Gulf's Extra Octane helps stop engine run-on.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
On this memorable night in Cincinnati sports history, let's take a look at the Reds defense. In left field, Gary Reedus, Paul Householder in the middle, Cesar Cedeno in right, Nick Kosowski at third, Dave Concepcion the short, Ron Oster the second baseman, Dan Dreesen at first base. And the pitcher, Jeff Russell, and of course the catcher, who else but number 5, Johnny Bench. It was kind of interesting when Dave Concepcion and the shortstop and Tom Hume, relief pitcher, went out to make a presentation, as you saw, to Johnny with the gift from the Reds ball club. And the youngest Red, Jeff Russell, ready to go tonight. For him, start number 7. His wins, 2 over the Padres, 1 over the Cubs, and he hopes to notch the Astros on his belt here tonight. Leading it off will be Bill Doran, ironically a Cincinnati native who in his youth spent a lot of time here watching Johnny Bench play baseball. We're glad you're with us. I'm Ken Wilson for Ray Lane, who certainly wished he could be here. He's on assignment tonight. But we're ready to go, and Bill Doran, hitting .268, a switch hitter, takes ball 1, and we're underway. Of course, last night, the Reds an 8-3 victor here. And to top off the great weather, the huge crowd, the enjoyment we've had so far, the Reds trying for their 5th straight victory. And Doran doesn't get the fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, it was 80, 81, 82 today. And who would have ever thought that September 17th would turn out to be such a beautiful day? The breaking pitch misses low and tight, 2-1. Bill Doran, the second baseman. Then Terry Poole, the right fielder. Center fielder Jerry Mumphrey. That's the top of Bob Lillis's batting order. Up the middle, Oster. And the Cincinnati native Bill Doran is the first out. The middle 3 for Houston. Jose Cruz in left field, as you see. Ray Knight at first. Phil Garner, the third baseman. Then the bottom third, catcher Alan Ashby coming off an injury. Craig Reynolds at short. And the pitcher, Mike Madden. This is Terry Poole, one of the 3 Astros in the top 10 hitting in the National League. Poole at .303. Breaking pitch tight, ball 1. To refamiliarize you, 330 down the lines, 375 to the power alleys, and 404 to straightaway center field. Oster has to hurry, plant, and he gets the Astro hitter Poole, who runs pretty well. A couple of bouncers to Oster, and they're 2 gone in the Astros' first inning. Things have gone exactly as Johnny Bench had hoped in the first inning. As we pointed out, he just wanted Russell to get the Astros 1-2-3 and get them back to the dugout and a chance to regroup. A newcomer to the Astros, the ex-Yank, Jerry Mumphrey. He's been hot lately. He's hit in 7 of 8. He had his 7-game hitting streak end last night. So he's at .308, but hasn't had enough at-bats to qualify in the top 10 in batting. The Astros can hurt you a bit with their bats. Houston a half dozen over 500, but they're just out of it now in terms of a pennant. Gary Reedus in left to retire Mumphrey. The Astros go 1-2-3, and after half an inning, Houston nothing, and the Reds with Johnny Bench coming up.
The Paul Newman Carl Haas Budweiser racing team roars into the championship racing series. Mario Andretti. They're coming your way, and they're playing to win. This Bud's for you.
There's an unusual new group benefit cost shelter developed by your Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan that enables you to maintain a high level of protection for your employees while measurably reducing your life and health insurance costs. Gold Standard, the hallmark of value. Gold Standard, the new standard of affordability in comprehensive group benefit coverage. Gold Standard, worth even more because it's backed by these names.
Ken Wilson at Riverfront as Mike Madden tunes up to face the Reds in the bottom of the first. Ritas Householder and Concepcion. And one of the big surprises for Johnny Bench as you look at the defense for Houston, Cruz, Mumphrey, Poole, Garner, Reynolds, Doran, Knight, Madden, and Ashby, was the fact that, well, the guy that many call the top baseball announcer in the country today, and I won't squibble with that, I'll go along with that, and why not, is Al Michaels was here. And I know it's nice for you to get back to Riverfront.
Well, Ken, it was a very special moment, and I'm very, very happy that our game tomorrow is in Pittsburgh, and it worked out geographically for me because I tell you, I still have goosebumps about over that ceremony. You think it's going to be that way, but you never quite know, and then it did take place, and I have a feeling that had Bench been taken around the stadium 5 or 6 more times and an announcement was made that the game was canceled, nobody would have cared. It was that great.
It's kind of insignificant, the ball game, and the ovation he got when he got up to speak was remarkable. I mean, it's a night you don't forget.
Well, he's a remarkable fella, and I was fortunate enough to be here in the formative years of Johnny's career and watched him mature. And beside the dramatics on the field, what he's meant off the field and what he's meant to this community is something extremely special.
I think a lot of people, especially around the nation, overlook John Bench individual and see only John Bench baseball player. And here's a fella who has a lot of depth to him.
He does, and he's a kind man too, and it's so important. He's a guy who gives as well as takes, and he understands who he is, and it's just been marvelous to watch his maturity as a player and as a person through the seasons.
Gary Ritas is leading it off. One of the youngsters is really a new breed of Reds come along here in the 1980s, facing Mike Madden, who shut them down back in July at the Astrodome. And Mumphrey will put it away, and that's 1 down. So you're off to Pittsburgh. You're in the heat of the pennant race, where it seems as though you've always been in your career.
I'm trying to find out what the score was today. St. Louis against Philadelphia. Did you hear anything?
Do you think I know?
Nothing. It really doesn't matter. You're right. Scores don't mean a thing in this town tonight. It belongs to Mr. Bench, and well, it should with the career that he has had.
Paul Householder yet to get a hit in 7 trips against Houston this year, but as you know, he's hit in 9 of the last 10, so his bat coming alive here in the waning weeks of this 83 season. You're getting ready for the World Series, which is going to be a lot of fun for you.
Well, it should be interesting this year too. Baltimore, Chicago, of course, one of those 2 teams will be in it.
Doran makes the play, 2 down.
And in the National League, I don't know. Last night, I'm sure the folks here know, Mark Davis of the Giants shut the Dodgers out 1-0, beat Valenzuela. A lot of folks think it may be over, but I'm not so certain about that at this point. They have 3 games in Atlanta next weekend, and that teepee is back up, as you know.
Yeah, they're 1-0 with a teepee up. Ted Turner may be headstrong, but not always. Davey Concepcion, 231, not having the great year with a Wood, only 1 home run, but he's still been marvelous defensively. You know, you saw Concepcion now, maybe even before his prime, and there's number 5 on deck. This is the first year I've seen Bench day in, or not Bench, but Concepcion day in and day out. I marvel at his defense. I never, and I'm sure he doesn't play now like he did 6, 7, 8 years ago. What a great shortstop he is.
He's been very steady since, about 1973. I think that was a very big year for him. It's interesting to look at him now as the veteran on this team. He was the kid when the Big Red Machine was in its formative stage, and he was the guy they brought along. And of course, Tony Perez was very instrumental in Davey's maturity as a person and as a player. And now look at him.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember a banquet in the winter of 72, 73. Sparky was talking. He says, you guys just wait. Everybody wait. This young Davey Concepcion is going to be quite a player someday, but give him time.
The crowd is sensing a walk here. I hope he gets one, too. I'd like to see somebody on to distract Madden when Johnny stands in.
3 balls and a strike on Concepcion with the big man on deck. Garner is tested. He'll have a throw, but not in time. So the table is set for Johnny Bench. That'll be a base hit for Concepcion. And look at this crowd. What a night they've been having. Blank and the pen is there. What kind of script is going to be written tonight? That's what everyone wonders. Mike Madden facing Johnny Bench. 1 strike.
He's not up there to hit to right.
He's hit 388 out of National League ballparks, and number 389 is certainly wished for here tonight, and he's done well against Houston. 1-1. Of course, Johnny Bench did not exactly sneak into the big leagues. Everyone was waiting for the much heralded catcher. And when he made his major league debut in August of '67 at Crosley Field as a starting catcher, and he was in his first game, he was 0 for 3. 2-1. The plate umpire is Dick Stello, and I guess he'll give John just about every benefit of the doubt he can give tonight. Nobody else said it. John said it this afternoon when he got here. He said, just like October, a World Series atmosphere. And that there is as he stands there. And you can see that he's a little bit tense, a little bit tight. A full count on Bench. 2 outs. Concepcion at first. In the first, no score. Gets a walk on a 3-2 pitch. And I know you're off to Pittsburgh and you wanted to see one at bat.
Well, you knew one thing. He wasn't going to get called out on strikes.
Yeah.
The 2-2 pitch might have provoked a little bit of an argument from Madden and Lillis at another time. But, well, Johnny's aboard, and of course, he'll get a couple of more at-bats tonight. It would just be fabulous if he could hit one out.
Nick Kosowski, who has hit 3 out in the last 3 games and has a dozen since coming up from Indianapolis. He's had a tremendous year in the home run and RBI department if you put his AAA stats with the big league statistics. And he's really the big power man of the future with Concepcion at second, Bench at first, 2 away in the first on Johnny Bench night. Madden 7-4 with an ERA under 3. He's like so many young left-handers, been very erratic in the rotation, pitches well, then goes downhill, ends up in the bullpen. He hasn't started in 17 days. 1-2.
You know, one thing you mentioned before, Ken, it's so important too. Bench didn't sneak into the big leagues, as you put it. Everybody expected big things from Johnny. He was much heralded when he first got here. And in a way, there's more pressure when you come in like that than if you sneak in. And so he certainly lived up to everybody's expectation.
Boy, he had that surefire star label. 2-2.
And he came up along around about the same time that another Oklahoman came up, a fellow by the name of Bobby Mercer. And Bobby had a very good career and ironically retired this year as well. They had a day for Bobby in New York, but he was the next man. He fell a little bit short. But still a good career for Merce.
Out of play.
But there's almost no way you can win in that situation. The best Bobby could have done would be to be another Mantle, to have the same sort of career. He could not surpass Mick, I don't imagine. And then for Bench, it was pretty much the same thing. People expected Johnny to go to the Hall of Fame, and he's going.
Yeah, he's done it. coming on, and he makes the catch. So the Reds and Bench, in a sense, are denied here in the first inning. No runs, 1 hit. The Reds leave 2, no Astro errors. And after an inning on Johnny Bench night, there's no score.
McNugget Mania marches on. From coast to coast, the call has gone out.
How about more McNuggets? More McNuggets!
McDonald's responds with a big new Chicken McNuggets 20 size. 20 chunks of tender, boneless chicken. Choose 3 of 4 delicious sauces. Eat them on land, at sea, and in the air. Chicken McNuggets have changed the face of chicken loving in America.
McNuggets, McDonald's and you.
Confidence comes with this uniform. And as a Marine, you earn that confidence by doing a tough job with skill and daring. That's something to be proud of. You develop it by working on a unique team that succeeds where others might fail. A team respected around the world. It's a confidence that comes from knowing nothing is impossible if you're prepared to do it. Find out. Maybe you can be one of us. The few, the proud, the Marines.
There's Johnny Bench. It's his night. I'm Ken Wilson, and it's been a pleasure to have Al Michaels, the great radio voice of the Reds here in 71, 72, and 73. And you'll see him on ABC in the World Series here in a few weeks. Hey, it's been nice to have you, and I know John appreciated it.
Ken, listen, it was great seeing you again. Of course, I guess some people know that you and I worked together in the minors in Hawaii before I came here in 1970, and you ran me out of the islands, but I appreciate it because I was able to see Bench in his formative stage. It was just wonderful being here tonight. I'd have killed myself had I missed this. What a beautiful night.
We'll
take care.
Catch you tomorrow in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Al Michaels, the voice of baseball and other things, especially hockey and the Olympics on ABC television. We want to remind you this copyrighted telecast comes to you tonight through the courtesy of Multimedia Broadcasting, authorized under television rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. And the announcers on this telecast are employed by Multimedia Broadcasting with the approval of the Cincinnati Reds. Well, one of the game's top hitters at 322, second in the league, Jose Cruz. Oh, and a good slider from Jeff Russell. And it's 2 strikes on Cruz. Russell 3-2 with a great earned run average of 2.03, his 7th big league start after going 5-5 this season at Indianapolis. 1-2. Of course, Russell, a local boy. And as you would expect from a 322 hitter who's hit safely now in 22 of his last 24 games, Jose Cruz comes through. That's the first Astros hit, their first base runner. And it'll bring up another ex-Red, Ray Knight. No score, top of the second at Riverfront. Knight hitting .308, and that is 6th in the National League. The Georgia native having one of his finest years. The Reds in double play depth. Cruz has good speed, and he's a threat to steal at first. Strike 1. The outfield shades a bit to right as Dreesen holds with Jose. After Knight, it'll be Phil Garner. Russell, a token toss. It's interesting. If you watch Russell's stance on the mound with Cruz at first, he kind of opens up like a hitter. We talk about hitters who open up. He doesn't have the feet straight in line with the pitcher's rubber and home plate. He's kind of opened up that front left leg. The breaking pitch, and it's a ball and a strike. Knight sort of sneaking around under the stands here at Riverfront about 4:30, 4:45 this afternoon. Bench to hold a media conference, and Knight was in the back. He kind of snuck in and was way in the back, and I really don't think anyone, including John, saw him. But Ray Knight was a very interested spectator at Johnny Bench's afternoon news conference. Of course, Knight came up with the Reds in '74, played here through '81. There goes Cruz on the 2-1 pitch, and Bench has trouble getting it out of his glove. And it's a stolen base, the 28th of the year for Jose Cruz. And that was one of the big questions. And it's been circling around in John's mind. Would the Astros really try to run him to death here on his own night? And make no mistake, the Astros are going to run when the occasion arises. So the Reds now taking themselves out of the double play situation with Jose Cruz's stolen base. And Knight looking for his 70th RBI in this scoreless game, and he has a 3-1 count, so he can sit on his pitch. He gets a fastball off the glove of Russell, and that could score Jose Cruz. It will. Knight digging for 2, and Reedus' throw not in time. So Ray Knight comes through as he gets a fastball, 3-1, and Jose Cruz scores from second base. That'll go as a double. Russell tries to flag it down. It's a play that Concepcion probably would have made. You can see Davey looked like he'd get a pretty good line on it. The Astros take a 1-0 lead, and Phil Garner will be the hitter. Breaking pitch gets away from Bench, and Ray Knight says, no, I'm just going to stay here. Jose Cruz leads off with a single, steals second, scores on Knight's double off the pitcher's glove. Garner, number 6 in the order. Fouls the fastball back. He's in the hole 0-2. Well, if you just joined us on Johnny Bench Night, we're certainly glad that you're here watching with us, because there is a capacity crowd here at Riverfront, and they enjoyed nearly an hour of ceremonies before the game. 1-2. And the crowd tonight, important to Johnny Bench in more ways than one. Nobody out for Garner, trying to make it a 2-0 game. Certainly John appreciative, as he expressed, to the great fans who have come out tonight and watched him throughout his career. A little looper, a bleeder from Garner, fair ball. That'll score Ray Knight. A single for Garner to make it 2-0. And Phil Garner not hitting much for average, but that's his 74th RBI. So he's still the run producer that he's always been. 3 straight hits to start off the second inning against Jeff Russell. And Houston has a 2-0 lead. The batter will be Alan Ashby, the switch hitting catcher. His average from the left side is only .217, and he hasn't played in 10 days, mending with a spike wound. One of the things that Bench said in his press conference was that he, in the back of his mind, hoped that tonight would be the biggest crowd ever here at Riverfront. Ball 1 on the breaking pitch. The largest regular season crowd to watch the Reds here, ironically, was against Houston. And that was just over 53,000. 2-0. The largest crowd ever was for a World Series game in that memorable '75 season, and that was just over 56,000. So it gives you an idea of the numbers needed to make sort of a secret wish come true for John on his night. 3-0. Jeff Russell facing Ashby with Craig Reynolds on deck. Reds looking for 2. And that's ball 4. So Russell is really in a heap of trouble. Skipper Russ Nixon now is going to make his way out. A single from Jose Cruz, a stolen base. Ray Knight's double for a run. Phil Garner's single for a run. Now the walk, and now Rich Gale will move into action in the bullpen. Of course, Russell, as we mentioned, a local boy, a grad of Wyoming High School, with another local boy, Russ Nixon. Of course, he's a grad of Western Hills High School. And John, boy, he's as good as local. As he says, I am going to make my home here. Never wanted to leave and won't leave. This is Craig Reynolds playing tonight for the regular shortstop Dickie Thon. Craig, quite a conversationalist, as I can attest. He's a former neighbor of yours truly, and he's up there yapping away with John, and that's typical fare for Craig Reynolds. Trying to pick up Garner and Ashby at second and first, and the Reds just looking for any kind of out. They spent a lot of this inning in double play depth, and any out would be a moral victory at this point. One strike. Reynolds hitting .240, no homers, 4 RBIs. Look at him, he's still yapping. Reynolds, line drive, ground ball kind of hitter. He pops one up. Concepcion wants it. Infield fly rule is called, and the catch made, and there's that all-important first out as Reynolds is retired. Garner at second, and Ashby at first with one gone. And the pitcher will come up, Mike Madden. Madden, not much of a threat, but that one hit produced a couple of RBIs, so you got to be a little careful, as you do with anybody who carries up a bat. The bunt, and Bench can't find it. It spins away from him. As John was saying, he said, hey, I haven't caught much, and I'm even worried about my bat. I haven't really had the bat in hand much the last couple of weeks. Well, John really did the right thing. He wanted to protect the Reds on anything fair, then worry about anything foul. The bunt. Greason Fields thinking third, now has to go to first to Oster covering, and the sacrifice is successful. So Ashby at second base. Garner is over at third. Here's the play by Greason. Now he thinks third. This is where Russell has to be helping him. The pitcher, Jeff Russell, really has to call. You don't have time most of the time to take a look and go all the way around to throw to third and then swing back to first. So the pitcher has to direct a lot of traffic. Well, Bill Doran in the first leading off the ball game bounced out. Young man who, like Russell, is from the area, from Mount Healthy High School. Bill Doran. There's a strike, good fastball. This young man was quite an athlete. He played on a championship team here in Cincinnati. In '76, a Connie Mack World Series participant, the Midland Guardian team. He and Richard Dotson were on that club. Of course, what a year Richard Dotson, his ex-Cincinnati amateur teammate, is having in the American League. He is already an 18-game winner and headed for the American League Championship Series with Chicago. 2 outs in the dirt, and Bench does a great job blocking that pitch. 2 balls and a strike. That saves a run right there. How's John look? He looks a little weary. Look, like, what inning is it? No one ever said catching was easy, even though John made it look easy for so long. 10 consecutive Gold Gloves from '68 through '77. second inning. The Astros have scored 2 with 2 outs, 2 in scoring position. And Doran up there now 2-2. Settles for 2 runs in the second inning on 3 hits. They leave 2. There were no errors. And after an inning and a half, Houston on top 2-0.
This bud's for everyone who's getting the 1984 Olympic Games ready for the world. Take teamwork, and Budweiser is proud to be part of that team.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Let's go Krogering.
Kroger meat, trim for value with never more than a ½ inch of fat on U.S. choice beef or a ¼ inch fat on pork, just enough for hearty flavor. Kroger even trims fatty tails from T-bone and porterhouse steaks. You get more meat, less waste when you go Krogering.
For the best of everything, including the price.
This week, save on fresh quarter pork loin sliced into chops, $1.29 a pound.
A minute of your time. Can anyone name a copier manufacturer that's bigger than Ricoh?
Xerox.
Ricoh's bigger.
IBM.
Ricoh's bigger. And we got to be bigger than Xerox by making precision-engineered copiers like this Ricoh 4060.
I'm beginning to see the light.
Now, are you still overlooking Ricoh and the Ricoh 4060?
Call Scott Business Machines at 733-4141.
The Houston Astros just wishing they had more time left and also wishing they hadn't started the year 0-9. Because they are 8.5 behind the first place Dodgers in the West, 5 behind second place Atlanta. There's the story here as the Reds prepare to face Mike Madden in the second inning. The RBIs on the top of the frame from Ray Knight and Phil Garner. Madden trying to notch his 8th victory of the year, trying to beat the Reds for the second time. Dan Dreesen leading the club with those 51 RBIs, tied with Ron Oster, who will hit 3rd in the inning. Cesar Cedeno will be sandwiched in between. Dreesen takes ball 1. One and one on Dan. There's Cesar Cedeno, the 7th hitter in the order, on deck. Dreesen is not really hit that well for average against Houston. He's at 194. 7 hits, but 2 of them have been for home runs. What a great breaking pitch. 1-2. That swing really leaves room for that depiction of weak wave. 2-2. So with Bench retiring, Dreesen as well as Concepcion really moving into a place of seniority on this club. He went around, according to third base umpire Joe West, and Dreesen is out of there. First strikeout victim for Madden, 1 out in the second. Concepcion, a .227 hitter, 8 homers, 37 RBIs. Cesar Cedeno, I may have said Concepcion. Cesar Cedeno, and he takes a ball. Concepcion, speaking of Davey, has the only Reds hit off Madden. That was a 2-out infield single in the first, which brought up Johnny Bench. He walked on a 3-2 pitch. 2-0 on Cedeno. Ronnie Oster on deck. Mike Madden is a Denver, Colorado product and came up through the Milwaukee Brewers organization. This has been his first experience this year in the big leagues. He's 26 years of age. Cedeno draws a one-out walk. Madden has walked 2 now. And it'll bring up switch hitting Ron Oster. At 259 from the left side. He's much stronger than the right. He's hitting only 227 as a right-handed batter. Checking in with Ron Plaza, coaching at third. So the Reds trying to muster a little excitement here in the second from the bottom of their order. 1 strike. Astros scoring twice here in the second inning. They lead the Reds 2-0. Cedeno aboard with 1 out. That's Ray Knight holding him on. And Madden in the middle of the diamond tonight for Houston. To right field, Terry Poole. That's the second out. Cedeno back to first. And it'll bring Jeff Russell up here in the second inning. One of his 2 major league hits, a home run. And he's kind of broken into the big leagues with quite a splash. He has been very impressive. You talk about aggressive. He is all of that. Two down and the Reds second. There's that aggressiveness. Boy, he does the same thing at the plate as he does in the mound. You can just see him with that feel. Give me the ball when he's out in the mound. Just give me a bat. I'll do some swinging up here. I'll take a whack at that thing. Breaking ball, 1-1. Interesting alignment in the outfield for Houston. Cruz is rather deep in left and straight away on Russell. And Mumphrey is extremely shallow in center, shading to right a bit, and so is Poole. He's quite shallow. A base hit. Cedeno will hold on, and the Reds have their second hit. And for the second consecutive inning, the Reds have 2 on with 2 out. Russell at first, Cedeno at second. For Gary Reedus. Last inning they had Concepcion at second, bench at first with 2 down for Osaski. He stung the ball, a sinking liner to left, but Cruz made a nice catch charging in. Gary Reedus, who was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs last night, trying to hit one out as he did 24 hours ago. He hit his 16th here last night, as Milner and Osaski had 4 baggers also. Two on, 2 outs. Second inning. 2 strikes. Ted Vargo, the second base umpire, with Cedeno out there. Russell at first. Knight plays behind him. 2 strikes. Cedeno holds on at second base. have had a fine year when you think of that miserable start they had. They've been in contention and technically still are. Their manager, Bob Lillis, has a new contract a couple days ago, socked away in his pocket. So he's set to return. There's strike 3. Reedus is out of there looking. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 2 in the game for Madden. No runs, a hit, 2 left for the Reds. They've already stranded 4 and no Astro errors. And after 2, Houston on top by 2.
Come on and tackle a turkey, a Hardee's Turkey Club. Turkey Club. Turkey, bacon and fixins on a natural grain bun. It's a great big portion of turkey breast, a whole lot of turkey to say the least. Lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, and sizzling bacon as a centerpiece. Come on and tackle a turkey, something exciting for lunch. Exciting for lunch. Come on, let's go gobble one up, a Hardee's Turkey Club.
When you're moving, rely on the experts at Stacy Storage and Moving. The reliable people at Stacy will pack, move, and deliver even your most fragile belongings with care and consideration. They'll also provide detailed information about the area where you are relocating. When you need to move, you want a company you can depend on. So relax and trust your belongings to the company who's been in business for over 100 years, Stacy Storage and Moving. For your next move, call Stacy Storage and Moving at 221-1234.
You've worked hard for the things you cherish. You've worked hard along the way. It's a comfort to know all the things that you own are protected night and day. Insurance makes it all right. Insurance lets you sleep tight. It's a comforting thought. It's a comfort to know. Insurance lets you sleep nights.
Houston with a 2-0 lead as the third is ready to unfold here at Riverfront. Terry Poole, the number 2 hitter in the Houston order, will lead it off. Then Jerry Mumphrey and Jose Cruz. Ken Wilson along with our producer-director Lou Rainoni. And it is nice to be at Riverfront. Of course, most of our telecasts in this 83 season have been other than here. Our third telecast unscheduled, but Johnny Bench night, and your demand certainly warrants an appearance for us all as Poole fouls it back 1 strike. Our conditions to work here and our crew, tops. Boy, we could do all the home games. We'd be in Fat City, but it's just nice to be at Riverfront around the friendly folks instead of the enemy all the time. Russell ahead of Terry Poole, 2 strikes. My favorite rib place last night, Montgomery Inn. Haven't had to eat all day. Still 2 strikes. I guess that's one of the glories of going around the country, because you do get to see a lot of towns, a lot of ballparks, test a lot of restaurants, and I am a rib fanatic. Down the line and left. Long run, and it's a foul ball as Reedus can't quite get to it. People in Kansas City tell you that the best ribs in America are in Kansas City. Arthur Bryant's, where even presidents have eaten. People in Chicago will tell you that the best ribs are there, and there are some good ribs. Best ribs. Montgomery Inn. No doubt about it. Oh. Delicious. That's true. I had to pay too. So you know it's on the up and up. Terry Poole's out of there. His bench holds on to that one for Jeff Russell. That's his first strikeout. So 1 down in the third. Jerry Mumphrey, happy to be out of the Yankee pinstripes. Fly to left in the first. Boy, there seems to be a lot of unhappiness in Gotham again, surrounding Yankee Stadium and Billy Martin. 1 ball. The rumors that George Steinbrenner may be ready to cashier number 1 His third tenure as a Yankee manager could end soon, or so the rumors go. 1-1 on Mumphrey. Mumphrey was just not that excited about playing for the Yankees. Now Goose Gossage, who can become a free agent, is talking about leaving the Yanks if Billy is still there. 2-1. And I guess former Red Ken Griffey, who was certainly a part of the glory days here, wishes he was probably back here rather than at Yankee Stadium. To right, Cedeno. 2 outs. Steve Kemp left the White Sox for a big free agent contract with the Yankees. He'd like to be anywhere but in New York. And Rick Cerrone and Rudy May and Dale Murray, others who are expressing discontent with Billy Martin. Let's pause here for station identification. This is the Cincinnati Reds Television Network.
Your sports connection, WLWT, TV5, Cincinnati.
1 strike on Jose Cruz. He started it all last inning for Houston with a base hit to center. Then he stole second, scored on Ray Knight's double off the glove of the pitcher Russell. And then Knight came in on a Phil Garner base hit. Jose now hitting .323. He's got a shot at a batting championship. They get an appeal and a strike from Joe West to third. 2-1. Bill Madlock at .324. Jose Cruz at .323. And that's it. And Jose knows it. A 1-2-3 inning. 2 out of 3 in that fashion for Russell, and he has struck out 2. We go to the bottom of the third, and the Reds trailing the Houston Astros.
Early in the year, these guys were down here scouting the kids. Now they're back looking for help.
Bring out your best Budweiser Light. Bring out your best Budweiser Light.
The best has a taste all its own.
Hey, Bob, you got a minute?
Enjoy it.
Budweiser Light.
Change your oil now. You can do it. We can help at Nationwise. This week at Nationwise, get Haviland 10W40 motor oil just 68 cents a quart. Buy 5 quarts and send for a $1.50 rebate, making your Haviland just 38 cents a quart. Plus, pick up this free illustrated guide to help your oil change go fast and smooth.
You can change your oil, and we can help with all the good advice you need.
Come to Nationwise, your low-price, good advice auto parts store.
She's back. She's back. She's back.
The Mustang convertible is back. The convertible with a power top, glass back window, and room for 4.
She's back. She's back. She's back. She's back on the right track. Now that's a fact. She's back.
The Mustang convertible. The hottest news around because it's more than a convertible. It's a Mustang. Right, Sally?
She's back.
Have you driven a Ford lately? See your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers.
Riverfront Stadium, Johnny Bench night before the ball game. All sorts of ceremonies, and from the players, a very special gift for Johnny Bench, who says besides playing golf, he's going to spend a lot of time fishing. And just what John would order for fishing, he's ready to set sail with a bass boat. So he's all set to go now. Reds third, Paul Householder. He rips it, but bumps it foul. 1 strike on Paul, who popped to second in the first inning. Householder, Concepcion, and Bench here in the third against Mike Madden. The defense is straight away on Paul. And it's 2 strikes. Base hit. Concepcion, who's coming up here, an infield single in the first with 2 outs. And the pitcher, Jeff Russell, a sharp single to center last inning with 2 outs. Concepcion, most importantly tonight, preceding Johnny Bench in the batting order. And the Astros in double play depth. Ball 1. Ashby and Madden wondering where that one was. The captain checking in with Ron Plaza. C indicating the status of Concepcion. There's a strike, 1-1. I understand some football teams now are going to put C's on the sleeves of some of their players who are co-captains or captains. The only existence of it in Major League Baseball is right here with our Reds. Good curve. Off-speed pitch as Madden pulls the string 1 and 2. There's Bench on deck. The sport that utilizes the C to designate the captain, of course, is hockey, where it's formed for all teams. Out of play, 1 and 2. Half of the third here at Riverfront. They trail the Astros 2-0. The Reds trying for their 5th straight win. Concepcion hitting .232 against Madden. 2-2. Householder aboard, nobody out. In foul territory, Knight runs on a roof. Concepcion, of course, has played all year with a nagging shoulder injury. In his 14th Major League season. On Davey. He seemed to feel some pain on that swing, fouling that one off. A little jarring pain. Looked like he just kind of walked it off a little bit. These two clubs have met 13 times prior to tonight. And the Astros have won 9 of the 13, including 5 of 7 here. And Concepcion is gone. That's 3 strikeouts for Madden. And it sets the stage for the man who hit his first home run here in Cincinnati off Woody Fryman of the Phillies on the 6th of May, 1968. Back at Crosley Field. Of course, there's been 387 since. And a lot of memories, and that's why we're all here tonight. His first single against the Phillies. And that was off Chris Short, another left-hander. That's Davidson, the umpire at first. That was a strike. Householder at first, 1 out in the 3rd. There it is, deep to left. Cruz going back, and it's gone. Oh my, a home run for Bench on his night. Look at John, number 389, and this crowd capacity is going crazy. have tied it at 2. Well, there's very few times that I'll be caught speechless, but he is really something. Boy, to be able to say in your lifetime that you were a Reds fan and got to follow a Johnny Bench on a day-by-day basis. Hey, you are a most fortunate baseball fan. Dreesen, 1 strike. Dan struck out, leading off the 2nd inning. Johnny Bench lines a home run over the wall in left with Householder aboard with 1 out here in the 3rd to tie it at 2. Number 12 this year, 389 in the career. Oh, that's got to be the last one. There's no reason to hit anymore. 1 and 2. As we told you as he stepped in, just to reiterate, Bench's first home run was here in Cincinnati. And 389 properly should be here. And it should be one that over 50,000 in person and all of us on television can remember, and there just shouldn't be another one. Which gets back to, John was asked at the press conference this afternoon what he was going to do the next 2 weeks before the season ended. And he says, I hope I get 2 weeks off. And it was said in jest, certainly, but I think there was a touch of seriousness behind it. Like, I'd like this to be my last hurrah, my last game, especially if the script pans out and the producers buy it, and they will now. Dreesen is gone. He has struck out twice against a mighty tough left-hander, Mike Madden. And Asaski at first with 2 down. Only Johnny Bench could have an 80-degree day with a beautiful blue sky night. Hit a home run on his night. It hasn't been a life without some pain, but as he says, it's all been a dream come true. Cedeno hitting 227. Belts one himself. Cruz going back, and it's off the wall. Kawasaki racing to third. They're going to hold him up. And into second with a double is Cedeno. And the Reds bats are ringing here in the 3rd. The crowd hardly able to recover from the drama and excitement of Bench's 2-run homer to tie it. And the likes of Asaski and Cedeno keeping it going. That's 4 hits in the inning. The Reds now have out-hit Houston 6-3 in this 2-2 contest. Ron Oster fly to right his first trip an inning ago. And they're going to walk Oster to pitch to Jeff Russell, who's 1 for 1. Get to work in the Houston bullpen. Bob Nepper is the left-hander headed out. Pat Russell, already with a home run among his 3 big league hits, will come up with a Sachs jam. At third base, Nick Asaski. Cedeno at second. Oster with a free pass at first. And Jeff Russell, a base hit to center last inning. Well, the Reds have had something of brewing in every frame, and this is the first inning in which they've cashed in. And the night really has been made complete by Bench hitting 1 out to tie it at 2. There's a liner to right, but practically right at Terry Poole. And that's the way the inning will end. So Householder led off the inning with a single, and with 1 out, it was Johnny Bench who hit it out. So the Reds settled for 2 runs on 4 hits. They leave 3, no errors. And here is how it happened on Johnny Bench night.
Touch your future today.
More than 100 TV channels are on the horizon. That's why Zenith invented the Smart Set, the only set smart enough to give you 178 channel capability now, with access to more channels through Zenith's Space Command remote control. You'll tune in the future without leaving your chair. Advanced System 3, the Smart Set, exclusively Zenith.
For about the same price you'd pay for a lunch like this, a box of laundry detergent, a ticket to a first-run movie, or a pound of coffee, you can have the energy it would take to heat, clean, light, feed, and entertain the average home for one full day. Energy from CG&E. It's a better value than you might think. CG&E. You can depend on us.
A portion of the Cincinnati Reds baseball game is being brought to you by Frisch's. We never forgot what a restaurant ought to be.
There's the story. Astros 2 in the second. The Reds 2 in the third on Johnny Bench's 389th home run. Dennis Walling is going to hit. Johnny Bench getting a standing ovation, as you might expect, when he came out to his position. And Dennis Walling, the first baseman, going in for Ray Knight coming up. Walling bounces one to Oster. So the Astros utilizing two first basemen in the early going. And Walling is gone. There's one out. That'll bring up Phil Garner. Garner, an RBI single in the second inning. He now has 74 RBIs this year. Jose Cruz leads the Astros in that department. One ball. Alan Ashby, the catcher, will follow. In center, a late start for Householder, but plenty of time, and they're two away. Russell now has retired 8 in a row. After Garner's RBI single in the second frame that made it 2-0, he walked Ashby. So here comes Ashby again. You know, we were talking about Bench hitting the 2-run homer tonight, number 389. We mentioned his first home run in Cincinnati, which was off Woody Fryman on May the 6th, 1968 at Crosley Field. His first major league home run was on the road. May have suggested that his first home run was in Cincinnati, but his first home run in Cincinnati was the home run off Fryman. He had hit one off Jim Britton in Atlanta in September of '67. Ashby hits it high, but not deep enough for him. And the catch by Cedeno to end it. So 9 in a row retired by Russell. Halfway through the fourth inning, the Astros and Reds tied at 2.
This Bud's for the guys who really pour it on. The Budweiser Grand National Racing Team. They're coming your way with their own brand of high-banked excitement, and they're playing to win.
This Bud's for you, for all you do, the king of beers, for all you do. This Bud's for
you. Home style is our style, and your smile says a lot about our style, whether you're in a hurry or
That's Frisch's style.
It'll be tough to beat, but another big day here at Riverfront tomorrow afternoon. It'll be Team Picture Day. And if you're at the game tomorrow, you'll get an 8x10 color photo of the Reds' official team photograph of '83. Add to it, put it in your collection. If you've got a collection, if you don't, start a collection of Reds team pictures. You'll also get a beautiful color reproduction of artist C.W. Mundy's oil painting of Johnny Bench, and that's going to be a great collector's keepsake. So don't miss out. It's tomorrow. Get your free Reds team picture and the terrific artist's rendering of Johnny Bench when the Reds play Houston here tomorrow afternoon. That'll be Mario Soto in that game against Mike Scott. I get a chance tonight to look at the pictures as you see Ted and Katie Bench, the parents of John. A great rendering of Johnny Bench and a very handsome picture of the '83 Cincinnati Reds. That's yours tomorrow if you're in attendance here at Riverfront, and we hope you'll be out. There's Denny Walling, the first baseman for the Astros. Ray Knight started at that position. Doran is the second baseman. Reynolds at short. Garner at third. Cruz in left. Mumphrey in center. Poole in right. Madden and Ashby the battery. And what a night it's going to be to remember for Johnny Bench. As he said, a doubleheader tonight with the pregame festivities and ceremonies and the game. Here's Reedus, ball one. And in a sense, it is a triple header. The third phase of it probably will be the most relaxing for John. There's going to be a private party for John after the ball game, which he will probably get a chance to unwind a bit. Reedus has flied to center and struck out. Doran spears it. Liner right at him. One away. Boy, Doran's played well for Houston. He's an up-and-coming ball player in this league. He's really hit in the second half. Good-looking second baseman. Householder led off last inning with a base hit to left. That ignited the two-run frame, and the Reds almost got more, leaving the bases loaded. Strike one. Well, everybody talking about the Atlanta Braves trying to catch the Dodgers now in the West. Braves started play 3.5 back. And both Atlanta and the Dodgers lost today. Going out is Reynolds. Craig under it. And that's the second out in the Reds' fourth. Atlanta lost to San Diego 2-1 in Atlanta. And the Dodgers were beaten in San Francisco 4-1. Thus the Dodgers remain 3.5 in front of Atlanta. They still have 3 together in Georgia. Boy, 3.5 back at this stage is a long way back. Concepcion infield single in the first, struck out last inning. 1 ball. Elsewhere in the National League, the Cubs edge the Mets 7-6, and Philadelphia beats St. Louis 4-1. That drops the Cards back by 4.5, which makes their chances of defending their championship slim and none. Garner at third to Walling, and that'll do it. Reds go 1, 2, 3. First time they have gone in order tonight. We'll go to the 5th inning. All tied at 2.
Like these pros, our pros are dedicated to producing a perfect fit. An adjustment to free up cash flow, broader benefits. You won't find this flexibility and dedication to excellence in an off-the-rack program. We can tailor a group benefit program to your company's exact needs with a label you'll be proud to show off. The cost? Often less than a ready-made program. Just what you'd expect from the pros.
I'm Bill Ferguson, Ferguson Van Lines. The photograph you see behind me was taken 50 years ago, more than 12 years after my grandfather started our business in 1917. We've been growing most of this century and have become Cincinnati's largest moving and storage firm because we do it better. Ferguson's professional staff provides the most careful, cost-efficient move possible. Whether you're moving across the street or across the nation, give me a call. Ferguson, the better mover.
Move up with Ferguson.
The totals through 4. The Astros 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left. The Reds 2 runs on Johnny Bench's 12th homer of the year, number 389 in the career. The Reds a half dozen hits, no errors, and they have left 7 on base. Of course, the Reds, talking about pennant races, are not in a pennant race, but they are in a race to escape the cellar. And tonight, the Reds need a win to remain 1 game behind 5th place San Francisco. The Giants moving to within 15 games of the Dodgers with their victory this afternoon over Los Angeles. So the Reds, if they can win their 69th of the year, will move to within 16 of the top, which is not important, but still remain 1 game behind San Francisco. Greg Reynolds popped to short in the 2nd inning. Strike 1. Mike Madden, the pitcher, on deck, then Bill Doran. Russell has pitched very well. He's had 3 perfect innings. The second's kind of spoiling the party, though. He gave up 3 hits in a row for 2 runs from Cruz, Knight, and Garner. 1-1. I'll be very surprised if the Reds do not finish in front of the Giants. Been a tremendous second half. Reds have played just about as well as any team in the league since the All-Star break. Reynolds, who has little power, pulls it. Cedeno at the 375. Parker has it. 1 out. So Russell now has set down 10 Astros consecutively, and the pitcher Mike Madden will check in. Of course, the Reds and the Giants have a date here during the final homestand when the Padres, Dodgers, and Giants will all be in. That'll be the 23rd through the 29th, and there'll be 2 meetings here between the Reds and the Giants. So the Reds will have some say on their finish. 0-2. Reds finish on the road this year, and they finish, in fact, against this club. They'll play 3 at the Astrodome to round it out. Madden can walk away 3 pitches, and he can deposit that bat in the rack. 11 in a row, retired by Jeff Russell. That's his 3rd strikeout. Madden, I think, saying to Bill Doran, look, at least stretch him out past 3 pitches, will you? Doran tonight is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and flied out. Bill played his high school ball under Coach Dick Goodpaster at Mount Healthy. The count. He went on to play at Miami of Ohio under Bud Middow, of course, who's now at the University of Michigan. 1-1 on Doran. You know, we were talking about Doran and how well he has played in the second half. To be specific, he's hit .344 in the last 32 games. So that really clearly shows the progress he's made. Oster throws him out. Another 1-2-3 frame. 12 straight hitters retired by Russell. And halfway through this one on Johnny Bench night with a 2-run bench home run, a 2-2 tie.
This Bud's for everyone who takes the power and sends it down the line.
This Bud's for you, for all you do.
just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this was for you.
Ford invites you to the new school of automotive design called Thunderbird, where form always follows function, so that aerodynamic looks contribute to greater road command, and shape, and performance, and braking and handling are all of a single unified piece. This is Thunderbird for 1983. Before we made it beautiful, we made it right.
Have you driven a Ford lately? See your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers.
At Riverfront on Johnny Bench night for the pregame ceremonies honoring John Magnificent, and we hope you were here for them. And this capacity crowd at Riverfront has already been honored by viewing Johnny Bench's two-run third-inning homer. He socked a Mike Madden pitch on a line over the wall and left, about 15 feet to the right of the 330 marker. 389 home runs in his career. Well, the man simply has magic. As John says, I've spent my entire life playing baseball. Now I'm going to open some new doors. One strike. Bench is one of those fellas, you spend any time around him, you just know that no matter what he had ever done, even if he hadn't played baseball, he would have been very, very successful. He checked his swing, 1-1. Of course, he's always been proud of what he has done as a catcher. And the home runs as a catcher so important to him. 1-2. So true, so true. Leading off the fifth, 2-2 tie. Now he gets a chance to leg one out. Safe! Bench has a hit. Bill Garner's throw is late, and Bench has an infield single. Boy, you almost felt, and this might be adding more drama than this event deserves, that Garner was going to take an extra step and lob it rather than gun to first. You watch for yourself. He throws all out, and so does John. He runs all out, and Satch Davidson down with the palms. So Walling will hold Bench on. He is perfect. A walk, a home run, and a single, and one strike on Ossowski. Oh, is there a 3 for 3 or a 4 for 4 night here on Johnny Bench night? Ossowski already has a hit. 1-1. Over the American League today, Toronto blasted Minnesota 13-3. Boston shaded Detroit 3-2. So the races are over for all practical purposes in the other league. 2-1. In fact, at Comiskey Park tonight, the Western Division race can officially end. If the White Sox beat the Mariners, the White Sox, sitting on a magic number of 1, will have won for the first time since '59 when they played the Dodgers in the World Series. 2-2. Or if Kansas City should lose tonight at home, they're hosting Oakland. That would also end officially the American League West race. But for all practical purposes, you can pencil in the White Sox and the Baltimore Orioles over in the other league in the championship series. There's Les Moss, who almost caught that foul. He had to duck out of the way at the last minute. Full count on Ossowski. Bench at first, nobody out in the fifth. Well, Bench is just going to have to be mentally drained, to say nothing of physically exhausted when this night is over. Garner could be 2. Doran to Walling. The double play around the horn. So 2 outs in the Reds' 5th. All eyes certainly on bench tonight. And Dan Dreesen has struck out twice against Madden. Madden with 4 strikeouts against a couple of walks. Ball 1. To end the discussion quickly on the American League Championship Series, it figures to be an outstanding matchup, 1-1. Primarily because the Orioles and the White Sox live and die on pitching and defense. They're very, very similar to that extent. 1-2. Also, both teams have some home run explosion. Renicky, Lowenstein, Murray, and Singleton in Baltimore. Fisk, Luzinski, Kittle, primarily in Chicago. They are very, very similar if you do a matchup of the style of teams they are. So that could become a classic over in the American League Championship Series in October. 2-2 the count. Dreesen the hitter. 2 outs. Nobody on in the 5th. Madden to end the inning. No runs a hit. Yes, it belongs to bench. No errors and nobody left. The bench family, they were here in number tonight during the pregame ceremonies. 5 complete, still tied at 2.
The Fifth Third Bank has millions of dollars to lend for any worthwhile purpose. Ask about a low-cost bank loan at any Fifth Third office.
This is the taste. This is the test. Pepsi versus Coke, the Pepsi Challenge. And all across America, more people pick Pepsi. Time after time after time.
Pepsi Cola.
Oh, what a time. It's gonna be Pepsi now. The winning taste is Pepsi. It's gonna be Pepsi now. Taste what Pepsi's giving. It's gonna be Pepsi now.
It's always busy.
You ought to get call waiting. With call waiting, you get through even if somebody's on the phone.
Oh, can you hold on a sec? I have a call waiting. Hello? Mom? I'm on my way.
All yours.
Get call waiting from Cincinnati Bell for just $3.50 a month and avoid this.
Busy. Oh, I gotta get call waiting.
To order, call or visit Cincinnati Bell.
Riverfront Stadium on a very, very special night. Johnny Bench night as Bench hangs them up after his illustrious career, and as he has done from really the time he broke in 67 with the Reds, he's given this crowd all sorts of thrills here tonight. Bench is perfect at the plate, 2 for 2, a home run, and a 2-2 ball game. So all has gone marvelously well. The Astros in inning 6 will lead it off with Terry Poole. He's 0 for 2. Jeff Russell has pitched very well. He's retired the last 12 hitters in a row. Concepcion gloves it. Poole's gone. 1 pitch, 1 out. That'll bring up Jerry Mumphrey. Mumphrey back in the National League again. Soft-spoken, likable gentleman who's 0 for 2. He's flied out twice. Mumphrey hitting 3rd in the order. He came over to Houston in the deal with the Yanks that sent Omar Moreno over to the junior circuit. The breaking pitch is a strike. Jeff Russell trying to notch his 4th big league win. He's beaten the Padres twice, the Cubs once. Russell has walked 1 in 5 1/3. 2 strikes to count. He's a pitch away from striking out Mumphrey. He's already fanned 3. Mumphrey, a pretty good all-around ball player. He can steal you a base. One thing he doesn't do is hit for much power. He's a very good defensive ball player. 1-2. On deck, Jose Cruz. He has one of the 3 hits against Russell. Led off the second with a hit and scored. Still 1-2. Tomorrow, the Reds and Astros conclude this series. Hope you'll be out. Receive a Reds team picture and a reproduction of the outstanding portrait of Johnny Bench here tomorrow afternoon. Slug to left field, deep. Freitas a good jump, but can't catch up with it. Mumphrey will go for extra bases. And that'll be a double for Jerry Mumphrey. And he's hit safely in 8 of the last 9 games. Boy, they had him 0-2, and the 0-2 pitch just missed. And Mumphrey turns out to be a very tough customer. Applause in the background. Welcome to A.B. Happy Chandler, former governor of the great state of Kentucky, and of course former commissioner of baseball. There's Happy. Oh, he's a tremendous gentleman. Of course, another commissioner will soon join him in retirement. Curve, 1-1. Baseball commissioners, as it turns out, do not tend to be among the most appreciated people in the world. Two and one on Jose Cruz, the Astros cleanup hitter. He had that single in the second, stole second base, scored on Ray Knight's double. Then Knight came in on Phil Garner's hit for the 2 runs off Russell. Bench out to the mound. Of course, he won 10 consecutive Gold Gloves from 68 to 77. And that might be more remarkable than any of his accomplishments. I think you generally think of offense when you think of Bench. But when you really study this great player, his defense might, in the long run and the final analysis, override his offense. And that would really be saying something. 1 out. 3-1. In the 6th inning. Mumphrey at second base with 1 out, and Cruz with 12 homers this year. Is it fair or foul? It is a fair ball. It's gone. Oh, did he hit that one? And it is 4-2 Houston. Boy, he just blasted that. So Jose Cruz, trying to win the National League batting championship, is 2 for 3 tonight here on Johnny Bench Night. That had all the distance in the world. It was just a question if it would be fair or foul. That's what happens when you get a pitch up right there. Walk. That just kept going and going way up in right field. Ball 1 on Dennis Wally. He hit for the first time in the 4th and grounded out. Now, you think of the Astros, you oftentimes don't think of home runs that much because they play in the Astrodome. But they hit a lot of them on the road. Ososky, not quite. A good effort by Nick, but he couldn't quite come up with it. And it's a ball and a strike. In fact, all year, the Astros at home have hit only 24 home runs. Certainly a remarkably low number. But they have now on the road hit 66. So when you ever look at Astro players and their home run totals, you got to sprinkle a little salt on it, because you just aren't going to hit that many at the Astrodome. A gapper between Ritas and Householder. A little ricochet off the boards. Walling will hold on. So 3 extra base hits in a row with 1 out in the 6th inning against Jeff Russell. Boy, the young man, perfect tonight, except for the 2nd inning when 3 hits in a row brought in 2. Now 3 hits in a row here in the 6th inning, and Bill Shearer, the rookie left-hander, will go to work. And Bench with an evening of pleasurable work out to calm down the youngest member of this 83 Reds team. 4 runs, 6 hits now for Houston. 2 runs, 7 hits for the Reds. Only 1 out. Walling at second for Phil Garner, who already has an RBI. A foul ball. Garner, former Pirate, former Oakland A. Two strikes. Good play by Bench. On that pitch low and outside to glue Walling to second base. 1 and 2. Walling can become a free agent at the end of the year, as can Art Howe, who's been out all year with injuries. So the Astros with a decision especially to make on Walling. Of course, the Reds do not have any players eligible to become free agents at the end of the campaign. Broken bat Tapper. Oster off balance, and he cuts down Garner, and Walling advances to third with 2 outs. Nice play by Oster on this one. Good pitch by Russell. Goodly position. Down and away, and look at Oster. This is a tough play because you're not in a position where you can plant to throw, and he does a very good job. Alan Ashby has walked and flied to right, appearing for the first time in 10 days. Deep to center. Householder. What a tremendous jump Householder got. That looked like it would go over his head, but he takes extra bases away from Ashby. 2 runs in the inning. A 2-run Jose Cruz homer, 3 hits, a runner left, and a score of 4-2 Houston after 5 1/2.
Your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers announced their TNT sales event featuring an all-new special edition Thunderbird, specially ordered for this area only. During this Ford dealer TNT sales event, they offer you the chance to purchase or lease Detroit's design triumph of the year, Thunderbird, at dynamite purchase prices. Test drive the special edition Thunderbird, specially ordered for this area only, and receive this once-in-a-lifetime commemorative collector's baseball record free. No purchase necessary. Time is running out and the fuse is burning fast. Hurry.
This bud's for everybody who sets them up just so they can knock them down. They're league bowlers, and they know that when you join a league, you get rolling. The competition, the excitement with good times to spare. You find it all in the leagues at your local bowling center. And league bowlers can compete in the Budweiser Hall of Fame tournament coming this winter. So join a league and get rolling. For all you do, this bud's for you.
Anyone who doesn't listen to the new Kicks Country stereo has a hearing problem. Did you hear what I said? Am I getting through to you? KX 94. Continuous country music. The new KX 94. If you listen to what I say, then I say Kicks Country. Every time. WKXF. More music and less talk and up to 10 country hits in a row. Now that's nice. But you probably already knew that. I hope.
Riverfront Stadium, a very festive atmosphere here in the old ballpark tonight on Johnny Bench night. The Astros, thanks to Jose Cruz's 2-run homer in the 6th inning, have a 2-run lead, and the Reds will have Cedeno, Oster, and Russell coming up against Mike Madden. The Reds runs on Johnny Bench's 2-run homer in the 3rd. You know, you look back at Bench's tremendous career, and Al Michaels made the point extremely well when he was with us early in the going, and he was one of the surprise guests here tonight to honor John. The fact that Bench was much heralded coming up, had all sorts of pressure coming into the big leagues. He survived it and excelled. That 1970 year, when he truly blossomed, maybe the best year of his career. And there had to be all sorts of pressure for Bench to repeat. A 45 home run, 148 RBI year in 1970. His best numbers in either department in his career. And for some people, that's too much pressure. They never are quite the same after a year like that. Yet Bench just continued to succeed, as he has succeeded here tonight with a home run. Cedeno has walked and doubled. Cesar at 2:30, the ex-Astro facing Houston here at Riverfront. Coming in on it is Jose Cruz. Reynolds going out, and Cruz does the correct thing. He calls off both the shortstop Reynolds and the third baseman Garner. Good play by Jose, taking charge, running in with the ball in front of him. It's such an easier play. Cedeno trying to pull the outside pitch. Now look at Reynolds. He doesn't have a great angle. And right there, Cruz says, I've got it. It's an easy play for him if he can get there. And with his speed, he's able to. Oster flied out in the 2nd, intentionally walked in the 3rd. Madden, we mentioned, has been in the bullpen a lot. This is his 10th start. He's had 15 appearances out of the pen. He changes up, and Oster drills it to center field. So Ron has his first hit. That's 8 safeties for the Reds to only a half dozen for Houston. And we're going to get a pinch hitter for Jeff Russell here in the 6th inning. And Skeeter Barnes will come in to pinch hit. Barnes called up here this month from the minor leagues. Skeeter appearing in his 4th game. He has gone 1 for 8. He's had a single and an RBI. So Russell pitches generally very well tonight. He has 4 perfect innings and 2 innings that just don't go so well, giving up 2 runs in the 2nd and 2 runs in the 6th inning. Skeeter Barnes pinch hitting. Ball 1. Skeeter, a local boy. Pinch hitting for Russell. Oster at first, 1 out. 6th inning, 4-2 Houston. Barnes fouls it away, and it's on the roof. Neither Walling nor Ashby, with Madden directing traffic, could come up with it. Action in the bullpen. The left-hander is Frank DePino, and the right-hander is veteran Vern Rule. Skeeter Barnes out of Woodward High School and the University of Cincinnati, trying to get something done as a pinch hitter. 3-1. After Barnes, it'll be Gary Reedus, and this crowd coming alive here at Riverfront. Astros in double play now. Down the line and right, it'll go out of play. For Mike Madden, just about every inning has been a struggle. The Reds got 2 on with 2 outs in the first. They got 2 on with 2 outs in the second, unable to score either time. There's Jeff Russell being lifted here for the pinch hitter. Then the Reds got their 2 in the third on Bench's 12th homer of the year. He had a 1-2-3 inning in the fourth. Then Bench led off the 5th inning with a single, a double play ball, and a bouncer. Got Madden out of it. Now a 1-out single here in the 6th, and he's on the ropes a bit again. Barnes needed a new bat, so he makes his way back to the plate. .2:15 game time here tomorrow. Mario Soto against Mike Scott. Soto trying to gain points every time out in his bid to become the National League Cy Young Award winner. Then Monday is an off day. The Reds will play in Atlanta. Certainly a key series for the Braves, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. Then it's back home on the 23rd to face the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Giants. And then the final 3 of the year will be at the Astrodome in Houston. 3-2 pitch. The runner isn't going. There's ball 4. So the pinch hitter Barnes gets on. That pushes Oster to second base. And with 1 out, the hitter will be Gary Reedus. Ashby out to kill time as much as anything, with Rule and DePino in the bullpen. And now the Astros skipper Bob Lillis, the former big league infielder who has just signed a new contract, will come to the mound. Madden in his 9 previous starts does not have a complete game, and he won't get one tonight. The walk will end it for him as he will go 5 1/3. And they're going to go to the bullpen, and Vern Rule, who has kind of jumped back on the scene for the Astros here in the second half. So the Reds to this point with 2 runs against Madden on 8 hits. He leaves walking 3-1 intentionally, and he fans 4. And as Vern Rule enters the game, let us remind you that if you're a businessman, it's a good time now to do some long-range planning in the very near future. It's really not too early at all to start thinking about season tickets for 1984. Add your name to the Reds' high priority list now, and you'll be the first in line for the best seat locations available to new season ticket customers in October. You can give a call first thing Monday morning and get all the details. If you're going to be at an upcoming ball game here, well, Reds season sales director Janet Wendell and her staff will be happy to visit with you while you're right here at Riverfront. And by the way, if you'd like a 1984 Reds schedule and handy individual game ticket order form, when they become available in November, just give a call or write the Reds at Riverfront Stadium. They'll be happy to add your name to the mailing list. It'll be a different 84, certainly, without number 5. But with the youngsters coming up, the future beginning to look better and better all the time. Vern Rule, you get his numbers. The former Detroit Tiger from the Detroit area coming on. Of course, Rule in his career has not strictly been in the bullpen. He's also been used as a starter. He's had 9 starts this year. This is his 37th appearance. So Rule picking up for Madden with the Reds threatening here in the 6th inning. 2 on and only 1 out. And Gary Reedus, the hitter. Is flied out, struck out, and lined to second. 1 down. Astros looking for a ground ball, and there's ball 1. The runner at second, Oster. Barnes at first. Reedus, a big man in his rookie year. He leads this club in game-winning RBIs with 11. Good slide. slider, and that's where Rule has to be when he pitches. His first pitch was a fastball up to Ritas. And Rule, really to be successful, has to keep everything down. He's got a good fastball that'll sink, and he relies a lot on his slider. 2-0. 3-0. Householder with one of the 8 Cincinnati hits tonight is on deck. Astros lead it 4-2. Reds with a potential tying runs on. 3-1. Coaching is always at third base, hoping he can wave a runner or two around here. Three and one. At the knees, the slider. Well, that's a pretty good pitch. And if you're up there 3-1 and you're Gary Ritas with 2 on, you really don't want that pitch. You just really don't want to swing at it. You don't want to see the count go 3-2, but it's not a kind of pitch that you're going to handle very well. But now you've got to let go with the wood. If it's close, and that was close, but not close enough. And that walk loads the bases. Oster at third. Skeeter Barnes, who drew a walk, pinch hitting for Russell at second. And Ritas aboard at first. So the Reds have good speed on the bases against Vern Rule. And now Householder will get a chance to bat right-handed. Or I should say left-handed. He's been batting right-handed, went 1 for 3. And this is his better side by 25 points. Only 1 down. There's the curve, and Rule's just showing that, kind of an advertisement. Halfway, with the exception of Garner, even with a bag at third. Foul ball, 1-1 on Householder. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Cincinnati Reds Television Network.
First for sports, WLWT, TV5, Cincinnati.
Big spot, bases loaded for the Reds, 1 out, 6th inning. They trail by 2. Vern Rule in relief. His second man up, Householder. The 1-1 pitch fouled away. 1-2. Ken Wilson, glad to be with you tonight at Riverfront on Johnny Bench night. Ray Lane not here tonight on assignment. We certainly enjoyed this 83 season on the Reds Television Network. A lot of victories on television. And a lot of exciting moments, especially thanks to Johnny Bench. And that has been the case here tonight. Bench a 2-run homer to account for the Reds scoring. 2-2. On deck, Dave Concepcion. Keep in mind, this game's still fairly young. And the Reds have already left 7 on base. They left 7 aboard in the first 3 innings. Good stop by Ashby. A full count on Householder. So nowhere to put Paul Householder. Ashby getting a workout. Vern Rule walking Ritas, the first man he faces, to load him up. Now goes full on Paul Householder. To be a bit rattled, and Ashby will go out to chat with him. The Astros dugout. They got a lot of action in that Houston bullpen. Looks like Dave Smith has gotten up with Frank DePino. Householder on the spot, 1 out, bases loaded, 3-2 pitch. And it's still a 3-2 situation. The Astros hoping to turn a double play. They've already turned one. Householder barely spoiling those strikes from Vern Rule. Rule in relief of Madden. The young man from Michigan now is 32 years of age. Oster, lead runner. Then Barnes. And then Reedus. Coming in is Humphrey. Oster tags. He's coming in, and Mumphrey's throw cut off by Walling, and the Reds are back within one. A sacrifice fly for Householder, scoring Oster to make it 4-3 Houston. The other runners hold. Barnes remains at second base, and holding at first is Gary Reedus. Householder's 34th RBI of the season. And the hitter will be Concepcion. There are your base runners. Concepcion hit his first trip. He's 1 for 3. He pops it up, and it'll be backing out of play. Concepcion last night went 0 for 5 in the Reds' 8-3 victory. And there's Johnny Bench. I'm going to walk to load him up here. Bench has walked, homered, and singled tonight on his night at Riverfront. Good fastball. 2 strikes. Astros 2 in the second, then Bench's 2-run homer in the third. Houston 2 here in the 6th inning to lead it 4-2. The Reds have come back with a run in their half of the frame. 2 on, 2 out. Kern slug in the gap. Humphrey with good speed, able to get over to make the catch. And the Reds have to settle for 1 run on 1 hit. They leave 2. That's 9 left on tonight for the Reds. And there were no errors. After 6, 4-3 Houston.
Have you driven a
1983 Mustang convertible comes complete with a power top, glass back window, and room for 4. And that makes it a true convertible. It also comes complete with the wind in your hair and a pounding in your heart. And that makes it a Mustang.
Have you driven a Ford lately? See your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers.
Home style is our style, and your smile says a lot about our style, whether you're in a hurry or not. Fresh food, a fresh mood, great service naturally. We never forgot what a restaurant ought to be.
That's Frisch's style.
Save 50% and more during Suburban Kitchen's all-fall sale. See Inquirer for details and bonuses. Suburban Kitchen's on Coleraine. They take pride in your kitchen.
Johnny Bench behind the plate on Johnny Bench night, which has been a tremendous success already. And John catching a new pitcher. One of the real positive stories in '83 has been this young man from the Buffalo, New York area, Bill Shearer. Fine earned run average, picking up for Jeff Russell, who goes the first 6. Russell allows 4 runs on a half dozen hits. And the young man from Wyoming High School tonight walks 1 and fans a total of 3 Astros. So Russell, a pretty good outing, not good enough to be a winner on this night. And Bill Shearer will face Craig Reynolds, then the pitcher's spot, and Bill Doran. Reynolds, a bit of a local favorite down in Texas. He's a Houston native. He was a tremendous high school athlete in Houston. So though he doesn't play as much as he'd like, he's happy to be with the Astros. Ball 1. A one-time All-Star in the American League with the Mariners, and he was also an All-Star his first year with Houston. So there aren't many who can tell their grandchildren that they were All-Stars in both leagues. 2-0. Strike on Craig Reynolds. He came up through the Pirates organization. Shearer facing his first man here in the 7th with the Reds trailing by a run. Reynolds pops it up. A lot of time, because it's high, and as it turns out, Oster goes by it. That was one of those pop-ups where you've got to put your head down and run to a spot and then look up, because those are fairly routine plays. Routine in that you know what to expect. The difference here is that this pop-up is a lot higher than most pop-ups. Basically, everybody with their heads down, they go to a spot saying, well, I'm going to look, and there it is, and they run by it. It's not that windy, so the wind really couldn't have changed or slowed the direction much. But all 3 had a little bit more time than they realized on that pop-up. So Reynolds continues to have life 2-2, leading off here in the 7th. He's 0 for 2. Both trips, of course, against Jeff Russell. Full count on Craig. Good pitch by Shearer. He not only came inside, but he took a little off. And Reynolds is the first strikeout victim for Bill Shearer. Well, there's quite a ball game being played tonight in Pittsburgh. The Pirates going into play today tied for first in the East with Philadelphia. As we mentioned earlier, the Phillies won. They beat St. Louis 4-1 this afternoon. And Pittsburgh entertaining Montreal. The Expos started play a game and a half back. And the Expos and Pirates are in the 7th inning at Three Rivers Stadium. Montreal 4, Pittsburgh 2.